Welcome to Surprise Insights, where we uncover the hidden dynamics shaping the world. Today, we're diving into the lesser-known but profound geopolitical effects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. While headlines reveal only the surface, a network of global shifts is emerging in energy, security, and alliances, transforming our world in ways you may not expect. Each fact we share will offer a glimpse into the intricate webs of strategy, resilience, and influence reshaping global power. Get ready to explore the true impact of this ongoing conflict. 1. Poland's ascending role in Europe's defense. Poland, often seen as a quieter player on the European stage, has risen as a prominent supporter of Ukraine, providing a mix of military and humanitarian aid. Beyond just offering support, Poland has become a central hub for logistical operations, helping facilitate weapon and resource transport from Western Europe to Ukraine. This role has positioned Warsaw as a defender of democratic values, setting an example for other European nations and solidifying its strategic position in the region. Poland's calls for stronger sanctions against Russia signal its increasing ambition and influence within the EU. By bolstering its defense capabilities and strengthening ties with NATO, Poland is not only securing its future but also redefining its role as a regional leader in times of crisis. 2. Strengthen NATO alliances. The conflict has accelerated a wave of defense initiatives across Eastern Europe, leading to a renewed commitment to NATO's principles and security mandates. Countries that previously maintained neutrality, such as Sweden and Finland, have now fast-tracked their entry into the alliance, viewing it as essential for regional stability. NATO's eastern flank has become more fortified than ever, with enhanced training exercises and troop deployments, reflecting a collective vigilance against further Russian aggression. This military and political mobilization has strengthened ties across the Atlantic, with the United States increasing its military presence to bolster NATO's eastern defense lines. Ultimately, the conflict has forged a more united and prepared NATO, standing as a formidable front against adversarial threats. 3. The rise of hybrid warfare and cybersecurity needs. The Ukraine conflict has exposed how hybrid warfare, blending conventional attacks with cyber tactics, can undermine a nation's resilience and security. Russia has strategically launched cyber attacks and misinformation campaigns to destabilize Ukraine, revealing the urgent need for robust cybersecurity measures across Europe. Countries now recognize that cyber threats pose just as much risk as physical military attacks, prompting investments in cybersecurity technology and defensive training. The widespread sharing of cyber attack data has mobilized both civilian and military sectors to develop collaborative defenses against these less visible threats. As hybrid warfare reshapes modern conflict, nations must adopt a proactive stance, evolving to secure their infrastructure and counteract digital manipulation. 4. Germany's energy crisis and strategic pivot. Germany, once heavily reliant on Russian gas, faced a severe energy crisis as the conflict disrupted its main supply chain. This sudden scarcity forced Germany to reevaluate its energy policies and seek alternative sources, including LNG imports from the United States and new pipelines from other parts of Europe. In response, Germany has also accelerated its transition to renewable energy, investing billions in wind, solar, and hydrogen power to build a more self-reliant energy grid. This shift is not only reshaping Germany's domestic economy, but is also redefining its role as a leader in Europe's green energy initiatives. Through these changes, Germany is positioning itself as a pioneer in energy independence, showcasing resilience in the face of geopolitical pressure. 5. The reinvigoration of the European Union's defense policy. The conflict has reignited discussions within the European Union about the need for a more unified and self-sufficient defense policy. Traditionally relying on NATO, many EU countries are now pushing for an independent European defense strategy to reduce dependency on external allies for security. This shift has seen the EU commit to enhancing its rapid response military capabilities, expanding joint training programs, and increasing its defense budget. The conflict has underscored the necessity of an EU that can protect its member states, rallying nations behind the concept of a European army and closer cooperation. By strengthening its defense stance, the EU is taking significant steps to safeguard its values and deter future aggressions. 6. Rising influence of Turkey as a mediator. Turkey has emerged as a crucial diplomatic bridge between Russia and the West, leveraging its unique position as both a NATO member and a strategic ally to Russia. Turkish officials have facilitated key negotiations and have attempted to mediate ceasefire talks, using diplomacy to stabilize the region. This role has enhanced Turkey's global standing, allowing it to project influence across both Eastern Europe and the Middle East, and to advocate for peace while maintaining economic ties with both sides. Turkey's success in balancing these relations is reshaping perceptions of its geopolitical clout and diplomatic value within the international community. This balancing act, however, is fragile, underscoring Turkey's challenges in maintaining neutrality while navigating complex alliances. 7. Global food supply chains disrupted. Ukraine and Russia are among the world's largest producers of grain, and the conflict has disrupted these critical supply chains, driving up global food prices. With blocked ports and restricted exports, nations that rely heavily on grain imports, such as those in Africa and the Middle East, are facing severe shortages. This crisis has led countries worldwide to rethink food security policies, with some expanding domestic agriculture and securing alternative trade partners to mitigate shortages. The food crisis has also highlighted the interconnected nature of global supply chains and the need for resilient systems that can withstand regional conflicts. As nations scramble to stabilize their food supplies, the world is seeing firsthand the far-reaching effects of conflict on essential resources. 8. Shift in global arms trade and defense spending. The conflict has spurred an unprecedented increase in defense spending among countries worldwide, with many opting to modernize their military arsenals and reassess their arms trade partners. Nations in Europe, especially, have sought to acquire advanced defense technologies, including drones and missile defense systems, to strengthen their borders. This surge in demand has shifted global arms trade patterns, benefiting countries like the United States and South Korea that produce high-tech defense equipment. Additionally, many countries are now reassessing their traditional arms suppliers, with some avoiding reliance on Russian arms to avoid future conflicts of interest. The heightened focus on military readiness signals a new era in defense policies, where national security is prioritized amid rising global uncertainties. 9. Revitalized importance of the Arctic region. The Arctic, often overlooked in global politics, has gained new importance due to the conflict, with Russia intensifying its presence and military activities there. Given the Arctic's rich resources and strategic location, countries like the US, Canada, and Norway are now focusing on bolstering their own presence to counter Russia's ambitions. This has led to an increase in Arctic drills and resource exploration, as nations anticipate future geopolitical struggles over this valuable yet fragile region. The conflict has brought Arctic security into sharper focus, forcing nations to develop strategies for a part of the world that could play a pivotal role in future power balances. As climate change makes Arctic resources more accessible, control over this region is becoming a crucial aspect of global strategy. 10. China's ambivalent stance and strategic calculations. China's response to the conflict has been cautious, maintaining a stance of neutral support toward Russia while avoiding direct condemnation or endorsement. This approach reflects China's delicate balancing act, as it seeks to benefit from its economic ties with Russia without alienating its trade relations with the West. By closely watching the international response, China may be evaluating potential strategies for its own regional aspirations, particularly concerning Taiwan. This ambivalence has led other nations to reassess their economic dependencies on China, spurring discussions on diversifying trade to reduce vulnerabilities. As China navigates this complex dynamic, its actions could serve as a blueprint for future conflicts and reshape global power dynamics. 11. Poland's rising role as a regional power. Poland has emerged as a key player in European security, taking a firm stance in support of Ukraine and rapidly increasing its defense capabilities. Recognizing its proximity to Russia, Poland has been among the most vocal EU members in calling for stronger NATO involvement and defense commitments. The country has also taken significant steps to modernize its military, recently announcing large-scale defense purchases and bolstering its military personnel. As a hub for aid to Ukraine and a frontline NATO state, Poland's actions are reshaping the balance of power in Eastern Europe. This newfound influence is positioning Poland as a regional leader, solidifying its importance within the EU's strategic framework and strengthening its relationship with the United States. 12. The renewed focus on cybersecurity. As the conflict includes extensive cyber warfare, Nations around the world have increased investments in cybersecurity to protect critical infrastructure and defend against potential threats. Cyber attacks on financial systems, energy grids, and communication networks have underscored vulnerabilities and the importance of robust cyber defenses. Countries are now enhancing their cyber intelligence units, working together to detect and neutralize threats, and sharing information to improve resilience across borders. This focus on cybersecurity is redefining the nature of modern warfare, where digital threats can disrupt nations as effectively as physical ones. The heightened emphasis on cyber preparedness reflects a global shift towards securing the digital realm, an essential frontier in today's interconnected world. 13. Global demand for alternative energy sources. With energy supplies from Russia compromised, the world is experiencing a push toward alternative energy sources to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and increase energy security. European countries, in particular, have ramped up their investment in renewable energy, including solar, wind, and hydrogen, to lessen their reliance on foreign oil and gas. This crisis has accelerated the transition to cleaner energy worldwide, as nations seek to diversify energy sources and stabilize economies impacted by fluctuating energy prices. The move toward renewables has also prompted greater international collaboration on climate initiatives, with a shared goal of creating sustainable energy systems. In a world driven by geopolitical forces, energy independence is now as much a matter of national security as it is an environmental imperative. 14. Japan's shift toward active defense policies. Historically constrained by a pacifist constitution, Japan is now rethinking its military policies in light of the conflict and regional tensions. The country has recently increased its defense spending and broadened its security alliances, signaling a shift toward a more proactive defense posture. Japan's move aligns with a broader trend in Asia, where countries like South Korea and Taiwan are also bolstering defenses amid global instability. This policy shift is notable as Japan positions itself as a key player in regional security, especially in relation to China and North Korea. With a stronger military strategy, Japan is reinforcing its role as a stabilizing force in the Asia-Pacific, balancing its historical stance with the realities of a changing world order. 15. Increased refugee flows and migration pressures. The conflict has led to a significant refugee crisis, with millions of Ukrainians seeking safety across Europe. This large-scale displacement has placed considerable pressure on host countries, especially neighboring nations, as they mobilize to provide shelter, healthcare, and employment for displaced populations. This situation has sparked a renewed focus on migration policies, with countries rethinking integration strategies and international organizations stepping in to assist. The crisis has also highlighted Europe's solidarity and willingness to help those affected by conflict, but it has underscored the challenges of balancing humanitarian support with sustainable resources. As migration pressures persist, the world is witnessing how conflict shapes demographic shifts and strains existing infrastructures, reshaping social and economic landscapes. 16. Finland and Sweden's NATO membership ambitions. The conflict has driven traditionally neutral countries like Finland and Sweden to reconsider their security policies, leading to unprecedented moves toward NATO membership. Both countries have long maintained neutrality, but the prospect of heightened regional threats has altered public opinion and political stances in favor of joining the alliance. The decision reflects a broader trend among nations seeking stronger security guarantees and collective defense mechanisms. Their NATO ambitions underscore the shifting power dynamics in Northern Europe, where alliances are now seen as essential for national security. This move could have a lasting impact on regional stability, changing the strategic landscape in the Nordic region and solidifying NATO's presence near Russia's borders. 17. The impact on global technology supply chains. The conflict has exacerbated already strained global supply chains, especially in the technology sector, as both Ukraine and Russia are significant sources of raw materials like neon and palladium, crucial for semiconductor production. This shortage has caused delays in tech manufacturing, leading countries to seek alternative supply sources and bolster domestic production capabilities. The disruptions underscore the fragility of global supply chains and the need for diversification to prevent dependence on a single region. As a result, many countries are investing in semiconductor plants and exploring new partnerships to secure critical resources, marking a shift toward tech supply chain resilience. This trend is reshaping the technology industry, with a focus on reducing vulnerability in a conflict-prone global landscape. 18. Shifts in Middle Eastern alliances and oil strategies. The conflict has altered traditional alliances and oil strategies in the Middle East, as countries in the region navigate the economic impact of energy disruptions. Major oil producers like Saudi Arabia and the UAE have had to balance their relations with both the West and Russia while managing oil prices and production quotas. The region's oil strategies now play a pivotal role in stabilizing global markets, leading to increased scrutiny on OPEC's decisions. This shift has also led to closer economic ties within the region and a growing focus on diversifying economies to lessen dependence on oil. Middle Eastern nations are reassessing their diplomatic and economic positions in light of a conflict, showcasing the region's influence in the global energy landscape. 19. Escalating military budgets across Europe. The conflict has spurred a historic rise in military spending across Europe, with nations prioritizing defense budgets to address perceived security threats. Countries like Germany, France, and the UK have committed to significantly increasing their military capabilities, including acquiring advanced weaponry, upgrading infrastructure, and enhancing troop readiness. This shift marks a break from previous, more restrained defense policies in favor of a proactive approach to national security. Increased spending is expected to transform the region's military landscape, promoting self-reliance while still aligning with NATO goals. The investment also represents a broader acknowledgement that peace and stability in Europe require sustained preparedness amid uncertain geopolitical times. 20. The spread of disinformation and propaganda. The conflict has highlighted the potent influence of disinformation, with both state and non-state actors deploying propaganda to sway public opinion globally. In the digital age, misinformation spreads rapidly, influencing public perceptions and creating divisions across societies. Social media platforms and news outlets are grappling with unprecedented amounts of false or manipulated information, necessitating stronger fact-checking and monitoring efforts. Governments have taken steps to counteract disinformation campaigns, recognizing their power to undermine democratic processes and social cohesion. The conflict has demonstrated that information warfare is a key component of modern conflicts, underscoring the need for digital literacy and public awareness to combat misinformation effectively. 21. A rise in defense cooperation in the Asia-Pacific. The conflict has prompted a wave of defense cooperation in the Asia-Pacific region, as nations respond to heightened global tensions and regional security concerns. Countries like Australia, Japan, and India are forming closer security ties, holding joint exercises, and expanding defense pacts to counter potential threats. This increased collaboration has led to new security agreements, such as the Quad, Australia, India, Japan, and the US, underscoring a collective commitment to maintaining stability in the region. These alliances signify a strategic shift as Asia-Pacific nations balance traditional diplomacy with pragmatic defense strategies. The region's proactive stance is redefining its role in global security, reinforcing a united front in response to emerging challenges. 22. The expansion of economic sanctions as a diplomatic tool. Economic sanctions have emerged as a primary tool for international diplomacy, with countries applying unprecedented sanctions on Russia to curb its influence and pressure for change. These sanctions target various sectors, including banking, energy, and technology, restricting Russia's access to global markets and financial systems. Sanctions have had a cascading effect, encouraging businesses to reevaluate their operations in Russia and incentivizing countries to diversify their trade relations. While effective in isolating targeted economies, sanctions also highlight the interdependence of global economies, where restrictions in one region ripple across borders. This expanded use of sanctions as a policy tool underscores the power of economic measures in shaping international relations. 23. Greater scrutiny of nuclear policies and capabilities. The conflict has reignited debates about nuclear policies, as countries assess the risks and deterrent value of nuclear capabilities in an increasingly volatile world. Concerns over nuclear escalation have led some nations to reinforce non-proliferation efforts, while others reconsider the strategic importance of nuclear arsenals. Global organizations and treaties, such as the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, are under renewed scrutiny as the world seeks ways to mitigate the threat of nuclear conflict. This renewed focus on nuclear policy underscores the delicate balance between deterrence and diplomacy, highlighting the ongoing relevance of nuclear stability for global security. Amid evolving power dynamics, nuclear policy remains a critical factor in maintaining peace and preventing catastrophic escalation. 24. The impact on climate action and sustainability goals. The energy crisis caused by the conflict has created both setbacks and renewed focus on climate action, with countries reevaluating their energy strategies for resilience. Some nations have temporarily increased fossil fuel use to address immediate needs, which has led to short-term increases in carbon emissions. However, the crisis has also accelerated long-term investments in renewable energy, with many countries doubling down on climate commitments as part of their national security strategy. This duality reflects the complex relationship between energy policy and climate goals, where sustainability is balanced with pragmatism. Ultimately, the conflict has catalyzed a global conversation about sustainable energy solutions, pushing the world closer to a green transition while acknowledging immediate geopolitical constraints. 25. The rising importance of geopolitical education and public awareness. The conflict has underscored the importance of geopolitical education, as more people seek to understand the broader implications of international events. Schools, universities, and media outlets have noted a surge in public interest, leading to expanded educational resources and programming focused on geopolitics, history, and global security. Governments and institutions are increasingly recognizing that an informed public is better equipped to engage in democratic processes and policy discussions. This emphasis on awareness reflects a broader understanding that informed citizens can contribute to a resilient society capable of navigating the complexities of global events. The focus on education and information access signals a commitment to building a knowledgeable society, ready to confront the challenges of an interconnected world. As we've explored today, the Russia-Ukraine conflict reaches far beyond the borders of these two nations, touching nearly every corner of our world in ways both visible and hidden. From shifting alliances and economic strategies to the very security and energy policies that shape our daily lives, this conflict is redefining global norms. The ripple effects reveal not only the fragile interdependence of our international systems, but also the resilience and adaptability that countries are forced to develop. These transformations remind us of the complex and sometimes fragile nature of international peace, urging us all to stay informed and engaged. At Surprise Insights, we'll keep bringing you closer to these surprising shifts in world dynamics, breaking down the hidden stories and big changes that are reshaping our future. Thank you for joining us in unlocking the unexpected, one fact at a time. If you found this episode eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest insights. See you in the next video.